Hey everyone, in this video we're doing some searching and a little bit of investigating to try to find some hidden abandoned ruins. Last year I was doing some research on another location and I came upon a website which was a type of blog, and it had some information and photos about some ruins that were found along a section of railroad tracks here just outside of Scranton. Due to some more research I was able to find that location and I have a pretty good idea where those structures are, the abandoned ruins. Now that website though was dated more than 10 years ago. The one thing it did say though is the best time to come is in the winter time, and that's why we're here today. Despite me wearing a t-shirt, it is actually January 12th, but we're having unseasonably warm temperatures. It's around 60 degrees, a beautiful sunny day, a bit breezy, but hopefully the microphone will subdue the wind, but it's a perfect day for exploring. Now, of course, being over 10 years old, there's no guarantee we're gonna find anything at all. We may find what I found on that website, we may find more than what was actually there, or nothing at all. But for me, the journey and the adventure is just as important as the destination. And hopefully you guys feel the same, because despite us finding anything at all, I'm just gonna have a great time taking you along the way on the journey, making you feel like you're part of this with me, and just having a great day outside in nature. So I ask you to come along with me as we search for some hidden abandoned ruins. Now right up here is Interstate 81, that is the upper bridge, and we are just outside of Scranton. And we're going to be going down here to try to pick up with the tracks and follow them, hopefully in the right direction to find what we're looking for. So this is what it looks like under the bridge. This is not Interstate 81, this is a local street with a connecting bridge over, I think it's Roaring Brook, and there is the Interstate 81 bridges. But we want to head this direction and keep our eyes peeled, I believe, for around the right embankment side. Further down, we got some distance to go. So let's start moving. So one question I have to get asked is, why is there so many abandoned structures, ruins, remains along railroad tracks? Well, the simple answer is because railroading was the main form of transportation long before automobiles and public transportation, such as buses and taxis and modern day Ubers. But everything was built along the rail line because that was essentially the highway. Just like now, highways, they build hotels, restaurants, malls. Well, back in the day, everything was built along the rail line. Post offices, general stores, and other areas that could be accessible by passengers and for freight drop off and pickup. So right here is an active section of rail line, but we're not focusing on that. On my right, which I'll show you, is an abandoned stretch of tracks. Railroad ties are still here, the plates, the spikes, and some sections of rail here and there. And that's what we're focusing on because these were ripped up a long time ago, probably around the same time when these structures became no longer suitable for the rail line activity. They became abandoned and moved their businesses and goods elsewhere, closer to the roads and highways. So hopefully that answers your question as to why it's always a good idea to follow railroad tracks, either active or abandoned, because sooner or later you will come upon something that was an important part of it back in the day. Now coming up here, we're coming upon a small bridge to cross over the creek here. Oh, it looks like maybe some ruins of something here. Let's take a gander over here. It's a piece of land here. I think it belongs to the junkyard. That's obviously a concrete barrier. This, I don't know what that is. But let's get a closer look. Okay, so right in front of us here, we got the abandoned bridge, if you want to call it that, and the active one. Now, traditionally, you don't want to cross an active bridge like that because not only is it illegal, but if a train comes, you could potentially put yourself in a dangerous situation. I'm going to see how stable this looks. Worst case scenario, I will quickly go across that. Oh, so they got like a big retaining wall here on the right, which I thought was a structure, but it's a concrete and metal wall. And there's the river, which is flowing pretty good. We had substantial rain the last 2 days. But over there, though, looks like something that Mike from Out Nature, you might recognize those familiar graffiti faces. I believe that belongs to QT. So personally, I don't feel comfortable crossing this. As you can see, it's severely rotted. There's not really any supports holding it up. I don't know how the underneath looks, so I'm going to use that pedestrian area and go across quickly. But before we do that, I do want to show you the other side here, because that concrete retaining wall wraps around and is over there. I think there's some ATVs coming. So let's take a look over here really quick. You can also see here too, these are the rails that were on that bridge. They have been removed. Wow, look at that. That is pretty impressive. Gonna get you a closer look at it. It's almost like a little drop off there, a small waterfall. You can see the ledge through the water. I was mentioning though that retaining wall continues maybe about another 100 feet or so. That's really moving. And there is, as I mentioned, QT. We see that name and initials and their dating and their little faces almost everywhere we go. It's amazing. They really get around. But let's cross over and continue onwards. Even though I still don't like crossing these, this was a walk in the park compared to the abandoned train trestle that myself and Cliff first encountered earlier in 2019. I should say later 2019. That was the Jessup Viaduct, and about probably 4 or 5 times the size of this one, and 10 stories in the air, but safely across. If you do notice in the distance too, there's some hand-stacked stone walls back there. So maybe on our way back we'll head down there and see if there's any significance to those, if they were indeed built for some specific reason besides a retaining wall. But I want to continue onwards and see if we can find what we're looking for. It's going to be, I believe, still on this side, if I'm not mistaken. But I'm going to keep my eyes peeled on both sides. But for right now, I'm going to stop talking. I'm going to let the camera roll, let you see what I see, and take in the sounds that I hear. All right, I actually see a structure back here, and I believe there's people back here too. So let's go check it out. We're gonna keep the camera rolling just in case. Okay, so we came upon one of the structures here, and look at the date on that, 1893. That is really awesome. I was talking to the guy and his girlfriend here, and they said, I believe this is an old pump house, which it does resemble that, but it is built like almost like a stone temple. And I believe you could get inside a little bit. I think it's flooded. But let me take a peek first, and I'll take you guys along. All right, so good news and bad news. Good news is that it's not flooded. We can actually go inside, check it out. Bad news, out of all the gear I brought with me, I forgot my flashlight. But it's still visible enough. I'm gonna put it on the main camera, which does better in low light, and we'll take a look inside. That date though is really pretty incredible, and it's really holding up quite well for being so old. Now this is more or less a hollow building, got some really heavy duty timbers as the supports for the roof. I'm actually really impressed. Those are gargantuan. You can even see the bolts going through. It's harder to see on camera. Those are probably about maybe 2 inches in diameter. And unfortunately the bullet holes through the roof. But inside though, all the equipment's gone, but it is more or less a party spot, hangout spot. There's a fireplace there, and if you see on that rock, another QT. it's like synonymous now with all the places we go that we see those initials everywhere. But this is quite cool though. It'd make, you know, a good little hunting shelter or a little private cabin. Just got to put a new roof on it and you're good to go. But nonetheless, it is really interesting to see. Oh, actually that is, I thought it was a rock. That's something like an old valve or something like that for pumping. I call these pump houses also valve houses depending on where they're situated and their uses, but regardless, they are for controlling water. So let me snap a couple photos here and we'll continue onwards. So regardless of what else we do find or not find today, this was pretty awesome to see though. And it wasn't actually anticipating on finding this because this wasn't one of the items that were listed on that website. So we'll consider this a little bonus find. But something kind of interesting here with the geography, you can see there is a large number of boulders here laying in a precise line going the direction we're headed. So let's actually walk along this side of it and check it out. So I'd love to hear your thoughts and feedback on what I show you in my videos. So I want to hear what you guys think. What do you think these were for? These, I think, in my opinion, are placed here. They weren't just, you know, sprouted up from the ground, obviously, but I think these were intentionally placed in this pile up in a straight line. And right next to it, I noticed there's a little stone wall, which is obviously man-made. That is hand-stacked stone. So just curious if you think this is maybe, I don't even want to guess because I don't know. It's so far-fetched as to what it could be. But at least at the very least, I should say, I'd like to know if you guys think if it is man-made, put there intentionally, or if they are a natural phenomenon. Now here's a look at the hand-stacked wall. I can't talk right now. Here's the front of it. Oh, look, we got a pipe coming out. So if this was indeed built for that pipe, they went to a lot of extra effort because this is kind of overkill for this big mound of stacked stone to hold that pipe. So here's looking down at the river. So some beautiful areas around here. Water is very murky though from the rain, but all right, let's get back on the trail with the tracks and continue onward. There should be more to find. And here's one quick look just from the top here. They are in a straight line right behind the pump house there. And they're good sized stones. You see with my hand. These weigh probably a few thousand pounds easily. Back on the ATV trail that we used to get to the pump house, and we're following it the direction we were originally headed. Should bring us back out towards the tracks. Take a look at that sky too. Crystal clear, no clouds, nice blue hue. Ideal day. We've never seen this in mid-January, temperatures like this, 60 degrees. Out here in a t-shirt, absolutely perfect day for exploring. This is my ideal temperature for hiking, exploring, adventuring because I don't sweat nearly as much as normal. I'm a bigger guy, I do work up a sweat, but there's just no bugs out here, no bees, typically no snakes. So Thumbs up in my book. Gotta thank Mother Nature for today. Looks like we're entering a little pine forest here. Quite the change in scenery. You can see the exposed bedrock here. It's like a little lush area in the desert amongst all the dead trees for the fall and winter time. Okay, we're coming upon some wet conditions here. Got to maneuver around them. I don't want to get a foot full of mud. And looks like we're joining up again with the tracks just off the left-hand side. Now, note to some of you, this may not be all that exciting. Like, oh, you're just walking along a ATV trail, spotting the obvious. But you have to understand, a lot of people that watch these videos don't always have accessibility to areas like this. Some of them live in Florida where there's not really this type of environment. Some of them live in the desert where there's no mountains, no geographical features like we have here. So if it's not for you, I completely understand. But for a lot of people, they do enjoy this and they do enjoy hearing my take on it. However boring or interesting it is, to me, I always find a way to make it fun, entertaining, sometimes educational. But as I mentioned, we're on our way to the destination, which I believe is further up. But each footstep is a step closer. Looking off to the left here, got some mountains which do appear to be man-made. Look like old waste piles, waste material from the coal mining era. But you know what, instead of walking the tracks, I'm going to follow the trail. The trail borders the tracks, so we'll stick with that, be a little bit safer. Okay, without even a few feet past where I just ended that last clip, came upon something pretty interesting. I'll pan over and show you what it is. Right down here. Look at that. It supports for something. I don't know if it was for a rail line, maybe a coal trestle for coal cars. But what's even more intriguing, if you look past this first pillar, there's a big concrete pad there. That is not a rock. That is man-made. Looks like it has straight edges, possibly rail going through it. That may have been a building at one point. And if the river levels weren't so high, I'm believing I could walk out to that because there's graffiti on there. And that looks really awesome. So I think maybe I will return in the springtime, or at least when we get a dry spell, and we'll do a little more investigating to see what that is. If you guys happen to know what that is offhand, I'd love to know. But this right here, I'm pretty sure either held a pipe, which would resemble that one right over there. I'll give you a closer look at that one, but I'm thinking this was like a trestle of sorts. It had either rails. Oh, wait, maybe, hang on. We're developing a situation here with some new information. Let me zoom in and show you what I'm seeing here. Okay, if you look right there, there's two pipes coming out of that wall. Those pipes, I believe, continued all the way over here on top of these pillars. You know what? Since I'm here, I'm gonna take you with me. We're gonna go down here by this first one and see what it looks like. I think those pipes may go into this wall here. So let's go down there and take a look while we're here. Okay, right up there is where I was just standing. I came down this little embankment, and this is what is in front of me here. So we can now confirm it was for pipes. And Mike, if you're watching from Out Naturing, if you're watching, the plot thickens. QT strikes again. And this one's showing go inside. I wonder if Pennywise is in there. But we can confirm now, I'm losing my footing here. And there's QT again. We can confirm though that this was indeed supporting a pipe. 2 pipes actually. You know what? I actually see some more things down here. Let's keep investigating this area. It's looking quite intriguing. Whoa! Almost went down. Almost is the key word. So right here, you can see a line. That's a stone wall. One of many we've seen today. It's actually a really nicely built stone wall. Oh, look at, what do you guys see in the water there by that pillar? You guys spot it? Let me zoom in and show you. That is a child's bicycle. So we can confirm we found an abandoned structure. But next to that is what I'm more focused on. You see that big number 4? It's a big concrete pad. It looks like almost rail going through the middle of it, or maybe some type of support. And I wouldn't doubt it if there's more on the other side to see. I think I see another stone wall. That is bordering the junkyard though, so I'm not sure how accessible that would be. But I think if we come with low river levels, if I come with my waders, my muckers, I may be able to make it out there. There's one more look from the side. Yeah, I am really fascinated by what that was or used for. It may well could have been a building. And that's where I was just standing, where the 2 pipes are. But over here is a pipe that's still, as far as I know, in use. It has a dual concrete support, stone support. But let's get closer. I actually can't go this way. If you look at all this, if you can see there's like green, those are all what I call pickers or spickers, spikes. They will, looks like rip your clothes open. So I gotta go down here a little bit to avoid all that. Now, one thing I want to mention really quickly is, remember at the beginning of the video, I was answering a question why things are built along the railway. Well, again, this is built right along the railroad. Behind me, maybe 30 feet is the railroad track. So this had some importance to the rail line back in the day. As to what that role was, I really don't know. But it's something I've never seen before. And unless you're local to the area and have been back here, you probably don't know about either. So that's why I'm glad to share it with you. Actually walking on a larger stone wall now, you can see how it curves. But let's get up there, take a closer look. Actually, that pipe is active. I do see water dripping out of it. So that's, I don't know. I don't know what to make of it. Oh, look I found the pipe actually. It came up from underground. And that's a really huge diameter pipe. Comes into, which is probably a connection here, like a 90-degree angle to continue this way. You guys want to see the view up there? Well, come on, check it out. All right, up here on the platform where you just saw me standing, and we get a better overview. And you can see people have crossed the pipe. I'm not going to do that. I wouldn't advise doing it, but it has been done. But what I'm really liking over here is the view of those pillars. It's actually a gorgeous shot right there. If you look down below too, you can see there's a valve there that's used to discharge water out through that pipe. So it's like almost like a drainage pipe of sorts. And I'll take you down there too. We'll get a look from underneath. I'm not sure if this isn't like used for modern day water, for like, you know, water, public water or whatever it's for, or if it was used for an industry that was back here. You look in the distance so you can see the car wreckage from the junkyard. But again, I do believe there's more over there to see, but we're not going to be able to get over there today. But let's head down here though, and I'll give you a look from underneath. And you guys obviously know what this is, right? Comment down below. What do I call that? You know, I wouldn't doubt it if this is a swimming hole in the summertime, because the rocks make pretty good access to get in and out of the water. And from what I can tell, it's probably pretty deep here. I can't see anywhere close to the bottom because the rock ends there and it just goes down. Now, if you stare at this long enough and listen to it long enough, it might make you want to go to the bathroom. Now, I've seen these before, these pipes that are going over elevations that are supported by supports, but none that are constructed like this though. How it's kind of hand-stacked walls built on top of bedrock. So it is unique for me to see it like this. And one thing I did spot in the distance, I'll see if you can spot it right now. It's in the water. All right, I'll zoom in and give you a closer look. Got a cooler there, and it's actually stuck in the current there, but it's floating, just bobbing up and down like a bobber. So somebody lost it, probably camping or ATVing or something. And looking upwards is the highway up there. So we're still bordering Interstate 81, heading northbound. Up further ahead, it does split off though to go to Interstate 380, 84, which is underneath the town of Green, I should say above the town of Greenville that I explored. And nearing the Jessup Viaduct that we crossed. And then there's the Casey Highway that takes you towards Carbondale, and 81 splits off to the left, heading north. Just the proximity as to where we are. Now, one thing I'm going to try to do, I've done in the past, is there's a website called Penn Pilot. It's a website through PSU, which is Penn State University. They allow you to go back to see aerial images from the 1930s to the 1960s. And the way you do is you look up your current location and you put your day timeline that you want to go back to. And if there's a map in the area, there's a red dot that'll be there. If you click on the red dot, it'll show you the dated map from back in that time. I'm going to try to find one for this area. If I could, I will share it on the screen at some point in this segment so you can see what it used to look like back here. I want to see if that was a structure or not, or if it's just something to do with water control. But if I could find the image, maybe it'll answer some of the questions. If I can't, if you don't see that image, that means there's no maps in the area that I was able to find. But I'm sure there's a local though, or someone that knows someone that may know what we're looking at here, and to when it was last used, why it was used. But again, the correlation with the railroad has me to believe that it has something to do with a coal company maybe, or maybe an iron industry, something like that. But Back up top we go, further down the tracks, see what else we can find. But so far, have an amazing day. I can't believe what we're finding and how gorgeous the weather is. Despite me wearing a t-shirt, I'm actually close to breaking a sweat, but at the same time, I wouldn't have it any other way. So if you guys are enjoying this adventure so far, you know what to do. I wanted to show you these spikes up close I was mentioning. Look how big they are. They will do some damage. Not only rip your skin open, probably tear your clothes as well. All right, our investigation continues. Still following the rails and the river, but I do spot another man-made item. If you look right there, that is something made out of concrete. I don't know if that's its original place though. It may have fallen down from the bank side. Excuse me. But I happened to glance over and saw it sitting there. So nothing of significance or importance, but just another piece of the puzzle, so to speak. Okay, went further down and came upon this fallen telephone pole. That's the ones that used to have the insulators on it for the railroad. But right in front of me here is something else that's man-made. We can see a stacked stone wall. But the thing that perplexes me here is it doesn't go across to the other side. I don't see where it would have continued. So I just wanted to do a little poking around and see what actually is on the other side of this. Oh boy, this is really high in the air. I can't get close to the edge. I'm gonna have to try and scramble my way down here and get a look around the other side. It's gonna be difficult though. This is pretty steep. But there's a reason this was built here. Oh. Looking upriver, there's something sticking out there. It looks like some clothes or a bag hanging on a tree out over the river. Hopefully we can see that closer when we get further up there. Well, I have to draw the line at some point. I can't go any further on my own without risking getting hurt. The camera's not showing how steep this is, and it's actually a drop off down there. So I don't want to do this alone in case I slip and fall, and if I end up breaking a leg or something, I'll be trapped here. But you can see the stone wall is here, and it goes down to where the river is. And I wanted to see on the other side, maybe this was maybe something for mining, maybe an old portal, maybe a bridge. I really don't know without seeing the other side. So hopefully I can come back another time with someone else and do this safely, because this is all loose material here. Once you start sliding, you're not gonna be able to stop, and there's some big rocks down there. So I gotta get back up there. All right, have to chalk that up as unsuccessful today for that area. But moving on, see what else we'll find. I just want to mention though that if you're ever doing this on your own, try to do what I did. Use your best judgment, use common sense, know your limits. I really wanted to show you what was down there and see for myself what that was, but until I actually got down up close and personal to it, I didn't realize how steep and loose it was. So probably can't even see me right now either with the sun, but I'll try to return with either Cliff or someone to at least aid in some assistance in case I was to get myself in a troubling position. But now I do want to show you down here what we saw with clothes hanging, or a bag, which I believe is right down here, and another man-made structure coming out into the water. All right, let me spin you around. So there it is. I can't tell from here if that's garbage or like a bag of something, but if you look a little bit upstream, You do see that image there through the branches is a man-made wall coming out from the embankment, the shore, to the middle of the river. There's just a lot of questionable things as to what they are, what they were used for, but a whole ton of stuff we're finding. Some pieces are small, some are large, some are obvious, some are not. Do have something up ahead. It's old train signals. Now, right here to the left is where the second set of tracks would have been, double tracked. That's why there's two different sets of signals, or I should say two different signals. But these are harder and harder to find. But ones like this do exist in the lesser known, lesser populated areas. But they are cool to see still standing and to know that this was responsible for train traffic. You know, it's more or less like traffic lights. Very simplistic. This one has two lights. It's probably green and red, which is very obvious. Green, go, red, stop. Some of them do have three. Yellow, which may mean trouble on the tracks or slow down for some type of reason. But they are cool to see though. Looks like some supports here. I wonder if there was a signal tower here at one point, or a little signalman's shack or shanty. Possibly. All right, I don't know how much farther I'm gonna walk though. I did think I was gonna reach what I was looking for by now, but I just don't know if it's no longer here or if it's further up. I will go at least up to around the embankment there, around the turn. Now another video I'm gonna be doing in the future is up here above the junkyard. There's the abandoned Erie line up there, Erie Railroad tracks. We did see part of that when we crossed that abandoned train trestle, the JPVideos, and we came to a couple points where there was it came to a junction where the tracks went one direction towards Interstate 380 and then went the other way towards the Naples. And I heard from a reliable source that along that section over here is an overturned boxcar that derailed decades ago. I think maybe back in the 50s or 60s. And it's supposedly still back there. So that will be a future video. You probably will see the viaduct again in that video. But we're going to be going the complete opposite direction to see what we can find. And that's a pretty isolated area. Tracks are still there. Only people that really get back there is on ATVs and dirt bikes, so that potentially could be a pretty cool adventure to see what we find. You know what? I'm glad I continued on because I think we came to a dam or reservoir up in the distance. So let me get closer to it and we'll check it out. This might be some additional bonus footage that we didn't know we were going to come across this. Okay, so I covered some distance and you can see some remnants of some type of wall. But you may be able to hear in the distance though some water. And that's because I came upon a reservoir and I didn't know what it was at first until I got closer. And myself and Cliff had been here before. This was I believe, Greenville Part 1. I will put that link down below in the description. We came here, I believe, oh geez, I don't even know when it was. I think around winter, early 2019 it was, maybe. And we came back for part 2. But I remember it was like 10 degrees out and everything was frozen. But I'm pretty sure, yeah, this is it. So I now know where we are. I now know what's past here, which leads to the JPVideos. So there's no more abandoned ruins or remains in this direction than what I've already seen. I actually hear a train. Maybe it's not a train, maybe it's just the thunder of the water. So I actually walked quite a distance. I didn't realize it. Because up there, you can see a telephone pole with some cameras. That's where we parked originally for our part 1 before those cameras were there, before it was posted. That changed since we were first here. But up there's a gas station where we parked to walk down. And that's the first time we came upon the trestle, but we didn't cross it. So this is very powerful though. It's almost deafening the closer you get to it. And Cliff and myself actually made it down this embankment here. I'll show you how steep it is. And we got down there to those rocks before and got a bottom view. But we can actually get a top view over here. I'm not going to go down there again. That's a lot of trouble to do it by yourself. This is posted too, so Pennsylvania American Water owns this. So I won't be going down there this time. Those signs actually I don't even believe were there last time. They are new. But I'm going to take you out into this little platform here and we'll check it out. I don't think you hear me. That is intimidating. Standing where I am, I'm a little nervous. Even though I'm not going to fall, just the fear of like being pushed. You would die going over that. That's a far drop, and it's not deep. It's filled with rocks. But that is so incredible. If you look in the distance, you see the splash coming up. The overspray. And check out that building, or a pump house or valve house. It's almost like a castle. That is super impressive. One of the largest ones I've ever seen. There's actually like underground chambers too. You can see doorways down there, metal gates and doors. So smaller structures, but that is a very beautiful and amazing structure just to harness the reservoir here. And what that does is in there's valves and drains and pipes and everything that if they wanted to, they could lower the level of the reservoir. And the way it works is somewhere in the water here, there's big pipes near the bottom. And what they do is they open those levers and the water starts going through and somehow gets rerouted and comes out down there. You can actually see one of the big pipes down there. And that's how they lower the reservoir. So it kind of reroutes the spillway here, comes out lower, and that is how they can control this. When it's sealed up, obviously the water comes over the spillway, but if they ever want to use the water, they could drain it for dam repairs or for whatever else they want to do, but usually it's not that as extensive for what they use to do that, but it is quite a sight to see though. I'd love to get over there, get a closer look at it, but now that it's posted, I'm not going to press my luck. And I would have to come out over somewhere on the other side. There's no way to cross it here. And here's the look. Gotta go back to wide angle, looking upwards. Now you can see the mountains. If you follow the mountain line, follow the back of this reservoir, you'll eventually come across the abandoned train trestle. It is further up there. So I know that there's nothing new that I haven't seen already. But the rail line I was mentioning earlier follows the ridge line here, and I think goes out that way. And that's what we're going to focus on next time. So I'm going to snap a few photos and then we're going to head back. I have a long walk, but we are going to focus on the one area that was on the other side of that first little bridge I crossed, where that wall was. So even though this video is not over yet, I do know this is a long video. So if you made it to this point, I want to thank you for staying tuned and for watching, because you just never know what you're going to find when you do these adventures in the woods or along old sections of rail lines. Make sure too, if you enjoy seeing my still photos, stick around to the end of the video for a photo montage. I was able to capture quite a few good photos of the train signal, some of the structures, the waterfall, and a couple other things here and there. But we'll be picking back up with the video once we get back to that section of wall that we spotted in the first part of the video. But with the magic of editing, we'll be there in about 2 seconds. Okay, so after some steady, fast-paced walking, we covered some ground and made it back to the area that I want to investigate here on the other side of the tracks. I'm going to spin you around, I'll show you where we are. This is the little bridge that we covered and crossed earlier, but we're going to focus down here. There's some hand-stacked stone walls and some trails down here, and there might not be anything worth seeing, but I just want to take a closer look, and maybe there is some type of foundation or something better to see. And also at the same time, we'll be able to get a closer look at the little rushing waterfall here. And this is what I spotted. You can see the length of the wall goes for a good distance. Actually, there may be something up here. Let's check this out first. Again, when you're ever doing this for yourself, or you're out exploring with friends, you always want to cover all your bases, which means you want to go and see everything that you could possibly see before moving on, because you just never know if something could be hidden just a few footsteps away. And I know I never feel satisfied filming a location unless I know I've checked out every possible thing I could see within reason and show you anything of interest. And what I spotted was just this little continuation of the wall here, which I thought was maybe a building foundation, but it's just more of the wall. But it is a really nicely built wall, standing strong for however many decades, or even over a century. So what I'm going to do, one more thing, not to state the obvious, but I'm going to come up on top of here and see if it looks like maybe this was something that was for a building. So it does flatten out up here. A lot of young birch trees, but I don't see anything regarding a building. But these walls were built for some reason. That had been something they were trying to retain, because they are farther away from the source of the water and the tracks. The wall is larger in size here, and as I always like to do, I'll stand up next to it to show you the scale compared to myself. I don't know if you can see it too, but you can see the spray coming up just over the wall there. To show that water is flowing pretty good. Let's get a closer look at that. I should be able to get a good view of it. Maybe I'll snap a photo or two and maybe do some slow motion footage of it. I'm gonna do a little revealing shot here for you, okay? You ready? That's pretty powerful. I could definitely feel the spray. Actually feels quite good. Oh, look at it. We're finding more of that pipe too. We'll investigate that in a little bit. And there's the pipe underneath the bridge too. So I'm going to set the camera down and do a couple of different things here. To some music. And then we'll continue on. So I left the area down there where I was filming the waterfall, and I did do some snooping around off camera, and looks like there's nothing really worth showing down there. The wall ends there. The big pipe though does continue. There's a drainage pipe there, probably from the highway, and the trail continues along the highway, but as far as I know, there's nothing over there worth seeing. And if there is, then I'm just not going to see it today. Maybe if I do some more investigating for a future video. But we're going to head our way back to the car now. But before we do that, I am going to ask you to comment down below. Tell me if you did enjoy this video. If you did, what was your favorite part of it? Did you like seeing that particular structure? Did you just like my commentary along the way? Let me get off the tracks. And did you, or maybe did you just like the sound of nature or the music that I provided? But right now I'm going to roll the photo montage, and then we'll wrap up the video from there. All right, we finally reached the end of the video. I want to thank you so much if you made it this far, because I know it was a long video, but this turned out to be a much longer and extensive adventure than I was actually planning on doing. But a few thoughts I want to share with you. Number one, as far as I know, I didn't find the structures that I was looking for that I found on that website from more than 10 years ago. Not to say we didn't see remnants of them or things around them, but from what I saw in those pictures, I don't recognize what I saw today being those pictures. With that said though, this was by no means a failure or unsuccessful. We did find quite a few cool things. My favorite obviously was that, I think it was 1893 it was, that pump house, valve house that looked like a little stone church or something like that. That was an incredible find. I had no idea that was out here. I happened to find the ATV trail, and that guy and girl was sitting there hanging out, and lo and behold, that structure was there. Further down we found the pipe that went across. We found those pillars that supported other pipes. We found that concrete pad in the water. And we also found a bike, which signifies we find the toy, it's abandoned. Just my running joke. But as I mentioned before, I want to hear from you guys. Comment down below if you have any information you're able to share about what we saw in this video. If you'd like me to maybe return with a partner to try and check some other areas. But don't forget, I will be returning for a separate video to do the other section of abandoned tracks for the Erie Railroad up on the other side of the junkyard that we get to from across the abandoned trestle. I often use baseball as a good kind of correlation as to what I do. Sometimes there's home runs, sometimes there's strikeouts. Today I think was a base hit, maybe a double, because we did come upon some things we didn't realize were out here, including the reservoir waterfall. I walked quite a distance to reach that, not knowing that is indeed where I was. So despite the amount of walking I had to do today, the temperature did drop. It's now in the 50s. It is a little bit chillier. I'm still comfortable because I'm working up body heat from moving around. But that's what I just wanted to say. It was not a failure, it was not a strikeout. I think we got a base hit, maybe a double, depending on what you consider our findings for today. But anyways, enough with the rambling, enough with the correlations. Other than that though, if you haven't done so, please follow me on Facebook. I do share photos, details, and some videos that don't always make it to my YouTube channel. I do have a merchandise shop, obviously, and a Patreon page where if you donate $2 or more, you'll get exclusive access and find out what I'm doing with my next project before anyone else. I just want to thank you one more time for watching. And until next time, I'll see you in the next video.